From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Green Factory.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Green Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
And this is Conlon.
Andrew.
And Matt.
We're all here again. I hope everyone was okay with our brief hiatus last week. Time to recharge the batteries and all that nonsense. Let's see, what did we have? I know this is old news now, but did everyone hear what happened in Michigan?
Yeah, the whole.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to talk about that because I wanted to hear someone in Michigan what they thought about that because what I heard about it's pretty crazy. But
well, I'll tell you, this is tied into something weird that happened 2 weeks ago up the street when we had all the alphabet soup federal law enforcement agencies and the state police with a riot buggy in front of one of my neighbor's houses, calling them out. Come out of the house, walk back towards us with your hands up, that kind of nonsense. We were just on the corner like, what the hell? This isn't like someone punching their wife on Saturday night or something. They don't bring out federal people for that. And then a week later, that story broke.
you're like, oh, now I get it.
So I don't know. This guy, the people on the corner, like they're home. So I've seen them outside. So I don't know what level of involvement they were in. I don't even know if they were involved in that, but if they weren't, I don't know what it could be. But yeah, when that story broke, I can't honestly say I'm greatly surprised. There is a cornucopia of weirdos and weird militia group. I mean, this state's known for militia groups, so
yeah.
And how effective and organized this group was, that doesn't seem. They had the mugshots on TV, and it looked like a call out for the American remake of Trailer Park Boys. This group didn't seem like very, very deep, and what they were planning on doing sounded ridiculous. And because they've known about it since January, they obviously didn't have good operational security. I don't know what their plans. When I hear that kind of stuff, I'm like, okay, what's your end game? If you have this trial and execute the kidnapped governor of Michigan, the lieutenant governor doesn't come and lay a sword at your feet.
You've solved it. It's here for years now. You run the state.
This isn't Chronicles of Riddick. You don't get to keep what you kill.
yeah. This isn't. I don't know what your end game is. I don't know why people talk about stuff like that seriously, and I don't know what they think. I don't know what a bunch of overweight weirdos and lunatics you're going to take on the government. I mean, come on.
They can't fail,
Yeah, well,
it sounds like they watch too much Celtic Pride, is what it sounds like to me. It's like, this could work. It's a movie. We could do it with the governor. She's making us wear masks. Fuck her.
Yeah.
It's like, what a bunch of morons.
Yeah, it is stupid. They have the scary militia here. This just doesn't seem like that's it.
This is like the JV militia.
Yeah.
Hey, put me in, coach. I got water for you.
These are guys that meet up on the internet and they think they're anonymous somehow when they start typing in plans.
They just got an Express VPN and they're feeling frisky. I get it.
Yeah, and they think that, like, no one's gonna know. No one's going to report this crazy shit you're talking. And I don't even know. I mean, I don't know any of the specifics because they're not saying anything. They're just highlighting, like, look what these wackos did. We went through this like 8 years ago, or no, it was like closer to 10 years ago now with the Hotari militia. They were planning on killing a cop and then going to the funeral with hunting rifles and shooting all the mourners. And of course, they had someone who was a federal informant in their group. Now, they arrested those guys and took all their shit, and then 3 years later, they had to let them out and give everything back. And now there's like a civil lawsuit working its way through the courts because none of those guys, they couldn't make the charges stick. But they were just a bunch of people that were talking. These people, from what I've heard, tested an explosive and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, these guys are probably going to do some federal time. But yeah, that's a very Michigan story. Like I said, I could just imagine. I've met people like this, bunch of idiots sitting around. Hey, you know what? You know what, Bob?
You know what we should do?
Yeah, we should strike out for our man Trump because God knows some billionaire New York real estate developers. He's gonna appreciate us.
He'll pardon us. It's fine.
Yeah, he'll pardon us.
Well, like, I'm not surprised because, like, I don't remember what month of the pandemic when it first started, when there's all these nuts with guns at the state house. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you showing up there like this? Like, if you weren't white, you get shot immediately. Like, you fucking
We're
idiots.
taking after our forefathers of the Black Panther Party.
I would have liked them to start spewing Black Panther. Like, we believe in generational wealth and every black person should have a job. I just read the 10 Tenets the other day. Perfect timing. But
yeah, I mean, if they'd started waving communist like hammer and sickle flags around or something, I would have maybe taken a different tone.
Although, having been in northern Michigan like a month ago and seeing Confederate flags everywhere, it's like the irony is, it's like, oh wow, one of the most northern states in the Union.
Yeah, but somehow they feel ties to the Confederacy. That sounds like, oh man, that's like 3 or 4 years ago now. We did some story. There's a high school like in the middle of nowhere here that was like all these kids were flying Confederate flags on their trucks in the high school parking lot. And we asked this one kid, and he's like, "It's my heritage." I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, what are you talking about?
The Iowa rebels.
Yep, they were a big part of the Confederacy.
The Iowa slaveholders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
People
didn't they also plan to kidnap another governor, like the governor of North Carolina too? And
I think it was
Virginia.
Virginia, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because that's where there have been like instituting like gun laws, or at least proposing them. I don't know if they've actually enacted them or not.
No, they couldn't get them past the state Supreme Court. But yeah, they want to go after. I don't know. It's just as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Yep, that's Michigan. That's the Michigan I know." A bunch of freaking nutballs and. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know people, not maybe this crazy, but I know people that from work and stuff. I know people that are all completely balled into QAnon and completely into, just anything, tunnels and Trump saving children. And it's like, what?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I'm not going to propagate it here because YouTube will take us down now. But I mean, just to say, it is really weird. And I've had people sit down and explain this to me as earnestly as they have passages from the Bible. I'm like, what you're saying is crazy. And it's crazy not in a fun or interesting way.
Yeah.
So you're talking about child molestation and everyone in Hollywood and basically everyone you don't agree with, and you need an AR-15 to defeat Nancy Pelosi. And it's like, what are you doing?
I ran into a QAnon person in person last week, actually. I got sent to one of the malls here because they're doing early voting.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this was before that, actually. This was a blood drive a week before the early voting. And I was getting just an outside shot of the building, and some guy's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're having a blood drive." He's like, "Oh, probably for the Democrats. They ran out of kids' blood, right?" And I'm like, "What?"
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, well, you actually exist. It's a unicorn. I'm like, oh, man. I had no idea.
Was this before Trump got stem cells in his treatment?
Yeah, this is like right before he had COVID. I said he had COVID, yeah. Yeah, it's okay to have that, but, abortion's wrong. So, it's a fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, all their thinking is, all that kind of thinking is perfectly rational. There's no, there's no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've met people of every stripe here. I've had a long conversation with someone who was actually in a real militia here, who told me I need to stop reading so many books. It's like, okay, thanks.
What does he suggest you do instead? Don't read so many books.
Quit acting like I'm smarter than everyone else and thinking that reading books makes me generally knowledgeable about things.
Just do what we do. Huff spray paint and spin in a circle until you get all
You
hot
only
and
need
bothered.
one book.
Yeah. And that
The
book is the
Quran.
Quran.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Quran. Yes.
So, yeah,
Go out there and paint a picture of Muhammad and see what happens.
yeah. This is why I buy ammunition online and I buy guns from Gunbroker because I got tired of going into gun stores and meeting people. Hey, I want to spread some knowledge. Like, no, come on, no.
No,
Well,
more
you
knowledge.
still got to go in the gun store to get your gun. But
No, you can. I know a guy who's got an FFL.
oh, okay.
You can buy him online and go through him. It's ship it to his house and then he signs it over to me. Because I haven't bought a gun in years.
Unless you're getting a curio and relic, then you can get that shit sent right to your house.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Well, when me and Grayson watched
Have you ever heard of that, Matt? A curio and
I'm
relic?
assuming it means like a really old gun, like a musket or something.
Yeah, well, I think there's a technical limit on it because I believe technically the very first made AR-15s could be licensed under a curio and relic,
Okay.
but it can't be modified at all.
Okay.
So it's got to
That
be
makes
like
sense.
of that era, like 70 or 60 years old, and
Yeah.
then it becomes a curio or relic. I don't know things, but then you can get it sent directly to the house. But it's old ass rifles. So.
Yeah, I just spelled the words. I'm like, I think I know what that means, but I was just guessing. But yeah, it's like I'm just gonna put this up in a museum and maybe kidnap the governor. You know, whatever. it's fine.
Well, I was looking at me and Grayson watched The Revenant.
Oh yeah.
I was about buying. You can buy those guns and just build them at your house. Like
Really?
They're just black powder, smoothbore guns, and
Was that the kind of guns the militia had that they're going to use? Just the muskets and the powders?
no, it would be interesting if they did.
Although
If they wanted to
I
be-
do believe if you're a felon, you can own a black powdered musket. You're
Oh,
allowed that.
I'd like to see a show where someone's robbing drug dealers and that's what they're doing it with. I would love that. Like,
Well, if
Omar
you're
from The
committing
Wire.
crime, like why would you give a shit about like following the rules? But
Don't worry, this is a relic and a curio. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just using a musketoon to rob a bank.
I would love to see that. That would be amazing.
Well, if they fired it in a small place, it'd probably kill 12 people, though. I mean, it's a huge shotgun.
Yeah, it would work.
this is full of silverware and black powder. Don't test me.
Takes them forever to load it. Like, hold on a second.
Should we tackle him, guys?
But anyway,
He asked us nicely.
that's why I stopped going to gun stores, because I couldn't take the weirdos anymore. And I
No,
didn't,
that makes sense.
yeah, because it's just like, hey, I just like shooting guns. I'm not here for the whole political.
The extra
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I've never voted for Republicans, and I never will. So I don't have enough zeros in my bank account to vote for Republicans.
There's a new political party. What's the one that Diddy started the other day? It's like the Black something party. I have to look it up. I can't think of it now. But anybody hear about that?
No, I see he's won it. He's
The only vague thing I heard of like sort of prominent black people
Oh, yeah, Ice
was the
Cube.
Ice Cube thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
he
I-
didn't care which party, just as long as they would support his demands or what he wanted to do. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which
Well, see,
I only saw on
Kanye
Twitter.
West
I don't
is-
know anything about it though. So.
I see Kanye West is running around in body armor doing meet and greets. It's like, what the fuck is going on in this?
He was
What-
he was
Well,
on the ballot.
Yeah,
here.
he's
I could've
technically
voted
on the
for him.
ballot
I could have voted for him, but I didn't.
in certain states for presidency, but he's not in every state because he didn't
He
follow
didn't have
all the
enough
rules.
signatures and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes, every state has different rules for what is valid for a presidency bid.
Mhm.
But so he doesn't meet the qualifications in every state. So.
Well, that's too bad. So that's why he's running around in body armor.
Oh, what was? Oh man, what was the shit where like? There's something I can't remember. Was he says something so embarrassing that the people like recordings of we have to go.
Yeah, so that Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves; she just transferred them to different owners or whatever. And then they're like, "Yeah, we're leaving. We're not fucking staying here."
Start taking the cameras down.
It's been fun, but we gotta go, Kanye. You understand?
Go.
Well, that and his ramblings of like, "We're gonna need to give every mother $2 million." It was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, okay. It's just
He had a tweet today that he said all his memories are from the future. So that's good. I don't know how that works.
Best life, isn't he? He's-
Well, then he
Yeah.
has no memories. He's just purely a broadcast machine from the future.
Yep. He's just an antenna to tell us what's going to happen. I get it.
Well, that in an interview openly said he's only running to help throw off Biden, basically, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
makes sense.
But
I mean, we've always had wacky presidential candidates in this country, but it's different when you actually have a wacky president too, because you realize, oh, this is actual danger.
Yeah,
It's
it used to be
not
funny
so
when they
fun.
had, when they had movies where like a comedian could be an elected president. You're like, oh, now someone from a reality show is president. Now anybody can be one, whoever you want.
Yeah, pick one. But yeah, that's
is there a way you can see like what states he's actually on the ballot for? Because I didn't even know he was on the ballot in Iowa.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
yeah,
you can probably look it up on his website or something.
That would have made Dad really pissed if I told him I was voting for Kanye West today.
You might as well.
Or maybe you'd shake your hand like, "Thank you." It's a
Yeah.
vote, it's a vote for Trump either way.
Yeah, you didn't tell me, but it's actually a covert vote for Trump. I almost said COVID, making no sense.
Well, because every time I say anything about Democrat, he just keeps hounding me. It's like, you're going to vote for Biden. You love him. I'm like, I don't fucking like Biden, but I don't like Trump any better. So guess who I'm... And then so he was like, oh, you're voting for Biden today. I was like, no, I'm actually voting for the Green Party. And he was like, really? He was like, yeah, I voted that way last time. He's like, you did? And it was like, what did that get you? I'm like, well, nothing, but it's still better than voting for fucking Trump. So I don't know. I mean, but you've seen all the pictures of people like posting proudly that they wrote in Bernie as a candidate. And it was like, yeah, that's the ultimate waste of a write-in candidate.
Yeah, this website's not really too impressive and informative. It's actually just a lot of rambling, which really surprises me with Kanye.
He's usually pretty concise and to the point. So
Yeah, so there's not
you
much.
should watch
saying
his.
about what state.
He had a political ad that came out like within the last week or so. You should watch that. That's interesting.
Why is he spending money on stupid shit like that? He's only doing it to fuck up somebody else's chances. He doesn't legitimately think he's going to be the president, does he?
I remember when
I don't
he
know,
first
maybe
announced.
maybe he has donors. Like maybe he's not even paying for this shit.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say it's hard to say. There's probably somebody paying, but like when he first announced, I think he originally didn't want to run for president until like 2024. But he's like, "Oh, I need to do it now because it's important." And it's like, okay, it's like whatever, man.
Well,
He's
this is
really
part
like
of that
ultra-
hype thing that his like wife does a lot, right? It's all just keeping your name. No,
Yeah, keep-
no such
yep.
thing as bad press as long as people are talking about you.
Yeah, as long as you're still in the realm of public discussion, it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Never grow old, never die.
right.
That's right.
In Kanye land.
Oh, like all the shit this week about how like Giuliani's a site or like feeding Trump bad intel from the Russians and like all this like where somebody broke down like every piece of like money laundering and like illegal money activity of Trump's done with Russia, let alone China and everybody else that's trying to influence him. And it was like, yeah, that's really weird to like have all these sources saying he basically launders money. And he can't even travel to Australia because he's known as a known criminal organization contact in Australia. And it was like, I was trying to think all day. It's like, has he actually gone to Australia when he was president? Like, I don't think he has, but I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of, but
So, I mean, it's just fucking weird, like all the shit that's supposedly out there with like between affairs and paying off people to be quiet for having sex with them and fucking laundering money, trying to cover up shit with lawsuits and everything else, and all the people he scammed. It's like, how does anybody think this guy is a good businessman or a worthy person to vote for? It's just fucking insane.
Well, I mean, look, the Rockefeller family.
Like I've always said, nobody voted for him because of any quality he has. They voted for him because he's not a politician.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
He was just the most destructive choice that people thought they could make because that'll show them.
Yeah, that'll solve everything.
Yeah, we'll get this country back to complete chaos and anarchy, but that's fine. He's not a politician. He doesn't talk like him. Yeah, he talks like a crazy person. And now he's in charge of 8,000 nuclear weapons. Good job.
Did you hear what he said? He was in Des Moines the other day. Did you guys hear what he was saying?
No.
Oh,
So,
he was rambling about something and like it completely quieted the crowd because they couldn't like endorse what he was saying.
yeah, so he's in Des Moines and he starts going on about when I got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, all your newscasts were only talking about floods and storms. They didn't even talk about that. And everyone's just like, what the hell? It's like, why would we be talking about that when we have stuff going on that actually affects us?
Yeah, my
He
house
didn't-
got sucked up into a funnel cloud, and I'm not worried about Trump.
Yeah, he lost them on that one. They're just like saying like, what? And then he was like, and Obama, he won, and he still doesn't know why he won. It's like, okay, just like, what are you doing? Or like Dan Gable, the famous wrestling coach, that he was on stage with him, and he's I guess he was telling him, he was giving him like the Presidential Medal of Freedom or whatever. And he was kind of standing further away from me. He's like, "Get closer, Dan. I'm immune from COVID now. It's cool. Just get closer." It's like, oh god, yeah. Or he said that if he didn't win Iowa, he'd never come back. And I was like, okay.
We have one goal, Iowans.
Don't vote for him.
We can all rally around this.
Well,
Mr. Fuck your tornadoes. Where's my Nobel Prize?
Yeah, talk about me. Yeah, he was like, me and the first lady were watching TV, and he didn't mention it. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, well, how are you watching the TV here? That's what I want to know.
well, fucking, because the billboard outside of his rally got a lot of press where it was like,
That was good too.
Trump super spreader event this way.
Yeah, with an arrow pointing to the.
Well, did you hear what the steel workers did last night?
No.
They got one of those hollow laser projectors, and they projected the Biden Harris campaign thing on the side of Trump Tower, like hours in New York.
That's great. I learned there's this guy that does this every day, that he wears a Trump mask and like a hospital gown and an IV, and he walks by the Trump Tower building every day, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, they love him in New York.
No, everybody in New York knows what he is, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're glad that guy's bringing that attention to them.
Well, and definitely less important news, I have another F1 update.
Okay.
Did anybody watch the Eiffel Grand Prix?
Yes, I did. Well, I watched it like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah.
I can't say that I did, but
It was at the Nürburgring, and I can't remember where it is in Germany. It's a famous track. They raced it last 8 years ago. Now in Germany they race the Hockenheim Ring.
that sounds cool.
But the Hockenheim Ring owns the rights to the name the German Grand Prix, which is why this was called the Eiffel Grand Prix. So a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, like if they're going to Germany, why they didn't go to Hockenheim, but whatever. Maybe it was more opportunistic to go to the Nürburgring, because I know like the Nürburgring is always constantly bankrupt, because it is an enormous track, and taking care of it is an enormous expense. And when they don't have races there, like the only income they get is like from people on the weekend that just like pay to like take the road cars out on the course.
Nice.
So it's famous. It's like a really long track. It like takes 8 minutes to go around one lap. Although that's not the configuration they did here. It was a much shorter, safer configuration, because the track goes out into the forest, and it's like one lane roads, and there's like bunches of crosses out there where fucking people have died constantly racing this track. But anyway, yeah. So FP1, which that's free practice 1, FP1 and 2 were both canceled on Friday because it was rainy, but they didn't cancel it because of that. They canceled it because it was too foggy. And it wasn't too foggy for them to race. It was too foggy for the medical helicopters to be deployed. So that's why they canceled the race.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because actually, like, there's a lot of rules that F1 has to be able to, like, your track to be eligible for them to use. And one of them is like the helicopter. Like, you have to be within 20 minutes of a hospital. The track does, by either ambulance or a helicopter. So that is required for a race. And like they have like neurosurgeons on standby for every race, because that's the kind of injury you'd expect in a really bad crash is a head injury. So like they have all that shit on standby for those. So nobody got to practice, and then on Saturday they had free practice 3 and qualifying, and another weird thing happened. is that Lance Stroll got sick. Now, he didn't get COVID. He was just shitting himself relentlessly.
Well, that would be a bummer. Yeah.
So Lance Stroll, who in the memes, his nickname is Daddy's Cash because his dad owns the team that he races for.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's cruel, but it's very funny.
It's on the nose. I like it.
It even has a song. It's kind of like rap. It's like Daddy's Cash, bum 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 bum, Daddy's Cash.
The respect of your peers.
So he had to basically he couldn't race, and so they called in Nico Hulkenberg back again. He got another racing drive this year. I don't know if he. So the Sergio Perez, the other Racing Point driver, he actually did get COVID back at Silverstone, and Nico Hulkenberg had like a day to come in and prepare. Nico Hulkenberg came in. He had even less time to prepare. He didn't even make free practice 3. He got to qualifying, and he did 4 laps. And he qualified in last place. But he got a drive, so. And he was only a second off of the... or 2 seconds off the top, so. Which in F1 is an eternity, but, it doesn't seem too bad for a guy who just came in, didn't practice. The car had changed since he last raced it, so he stayed up all night like relearning the car because they had changed so many things before the last time he raced it. So yeah, that was interesting. It was funny, like during the race, that there's a bunch of these radio calls that go out where the drivers are telling their engineers to shut the fuck up. That was kind of funny. Because this is a very windy track, so I guess they like had to be like on point every time. Because usually when they talk on the radio, it's on a straightaway, so they have, they can push the button and do things on the car, on the steering wheel, because there's like 400 buttons on the steering wheels. But every time, there's just like every radio call was like, it's like somebody's 3 seconds behind. He's like, "Shut up, we're racing." I can't remember what. There was a. I'm trying to remember what the fuck happened. So Lewis Hamilton won again. So, but despite
the thing that struck me was when that race started, that his teammate Bottas like cut him off like immediately.
Yeah.
It was trying to stay in front of him, and then his car died on him.
Yeah, his Bottas's. Yeah, Bottas raced Lewis Hamilton because Bottas qualified in first position, or P1, but Lewis Hamilton got a better start, and they were racing so hard into the first corner that they just completely missed the first corner and went off the track. Both of them did.
Yeah.
And then Bottas like got right back on it and like jumped in front of Lewis Hamilton, cut him off, but then he had a lockup later in the race, and that one mistake, and then Lewis Hamilton just went right by him, and then Bottas had to go in because he flat spotted his tires, so he had to go in and get some new tires. But then his car just died. He just got on the radio, no power.
Yeah.
Which is very unusual for Mercedes because they're usually. That's the thing about Mercedes is that they basically their cars always finish a race. So.
Yeah.
Which he won the last race, so that was good, but it was just kind of disappointing because it just lets Lewis Hamilton run away with the championship. So, but what are you gonna do? But Max Verstappen was pretty close behind him. I think he's only 5 seconds off of him. So Red Bull is getting better, getting faster.
Yeah.
Although. It's gonna be. I'm not sure if you guys are here for that, but Red Bull's engine supplier is Honda, and Honda said that they're going to get out of racing.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
But here's the weird thing: they're not getting out of racing, and they're not even. They made some statement that they're trying to get carbon neutral, but they're not just getting out of. They're not getting out of all racing. They're just getting out of F1 because they still supply IndyCar with engines, and they're not even hybrid engines in IndyCar.
No, IndyCar's just straight up engines.
So, but I don't know. Some people are speculating that the reason that Honda's doing this is that they don't really see a future in hybrid engines. Like it's either going to be combustion or electric, and they're just splitting that difference. Like they're not gonna do hybrid stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So that they didn't want to like just eat all this development cost for something that's not going to like work back into their company. Because Honda isn't necessarily a car company; it's an engine company. It makes engines for everything. So
Yep.
you can get a Honda lawnmower, you can get a Honda motorcycle, and get a Honda car. Anything that has an engine, Honda makes it. So, but what Red Bull's trying to do is that the people that it's actually an American company that makes the hybrid Honda engine. It's like this kind of boutique engine thing, and then they're just like they're supported by Honda, and then because they're supported by them, basically Honda gets all like the intellectual property rights from all the shit they make.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Red Bull is trying to buy the IP rights to this engine and buy out that company in general.
Okay.
But
He's doing all the D&E work, and they're just playing with house money from Honda.
Yeah.
essentially. Okay.
so, but that hasn't done because otherwise they probably have to go back and get an engine from Renault. So, which will be weird because that's who their previous engine supplier was, and they had a very bad breakup. Or at least in the first season of Drive to Survive, they portray it as a very bad breakup.
Yeah, that shows a little. It's dramatic, but then they seem to want a little extra drama. It's like, well, what these guys are doing is pretty dramatic on its own. Yeah.
But Renault had a really good weekend. But unfortunately, one of their cars couldn't finish, but it was like a gearbox issue. But Daniel Ricciardo gets a podium.
Yeah.
Comes in third place.
First podium since what, 2016?
2018.
Okay.
Oh, he might be. Well, yeah. Because the last time he got in a podium is when he won the Monaco Grand Prix in 2018.
Monaco, yeah, that was it.
But he won that race. But he hasn't been on the podium since then. So yeah, it's
Right.
been like 2.5 years. But so he forgot to do a shoey.
Okay.
Do you know what a shoey is?
I heard him call it out in the race, but yeah. explain it.
So a shoey. So they give him those champagne bottles on the podium.
Yeah.
And so what he does is he takes his shoe off and he fills a shoe full of the champagne and he drinks it.
Okay.
It's called a shoe.
Yum. Sounds great.
Which I don't think he invented. I think they do it in other sports, but yeah, he's the one that does that. So
Does he have the odor eater install to add extra flavor to it?
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I guess he was actually wearing 2 socks for this race because it was so cold. That was the interesting thing about this race is it was 10 degrees Celsius. For me, it was 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like really cold for an F1 race. So, which tire management became a thing because one time they put out the safety car and like all these drivers are making radio call outs like the safety car needs to drive faster, like we're losing our tires.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the Mercedes system for their tires? They have there's something they do, right?
So like the way they have their car set up, they get a lot of heat in their tires very quickly, but they actually do it too much. And
Okay.
so if your tires get too hot, then they basically disintegrate. So they have like almost like they turn their what do you call that? The rims on the car are actually kind of like a wind tunnel that takes heat away from the tires.
Okay.
So I remember that was an interesting thing. But also they have the DAS system. They can adjust the toe, which if they just move the toe like back and forth, they can put more heat in the tire,
Right.
which nobody else can do because nobody else does the DAS system. And it's made illegal next year, so this is the only year they'll be able to use it.
Okay.
Yeah. Then what was the other neat things happening in the race? Oh yeah, Nico Hulkenberg got 8th place, so he got some points from last place to 8th place, with only 4 laps
Yeah.
of practice. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, just showing up, new car, new track. It's running around 4 times and you're in an F1 race.
yeah.
Good luck.
Which I think puts him. I think he's like 8th in the drivers' championship right now, which is funny.
That's great. Yeah, the surrogate driver is now in your top 10.
And then Roman Grosjean from Haas, he finished 9th. He got 2 points.
Oh, okay.
So that was really good for him.
How many points is that for Haas this year?
3.
That's
So it's 3 more than Williams.
yeah.
And they're just behind Alfa Romeo, who I think has 5 points or 7 points.
Something like that.
Yeah. So they're Haas is very bad this year, but every team that has a Ferrari engine is bad this year. So,
Yeah.
but at least they're better than Williams, and they got a Mercedes. Although it is still unfortunate that they can't get a point. That it seems like they've worked so hard to make so many improvements with that team, and they still can't get a point. It's just it's a bummer, but you know, what are you gonna do? But yeah, like Roman Grosjean, he's probably gonna fire him. Haas is probably gonna fire both their drivers this year, but we'll see. I think Magnussen has proven that he can do a lot with very little, but he's also crashed the car like half the races this year. So
Yeah, so you look him up, it's like there's a lot of DNFs there.
And Grosjean, I think in the past couple of years he's proven like his worth as a veteran driver, while also being one of the worst drivers on the grid. So, yeah, but him and his wife made a cookbook. He's got some kids, and it looks like he's ready to retire from racing. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
moving on. Yeah.
He had to fight off a home invader last year. That was weird.
Where's he live?
It lives in France. I can't remember where.
Oh, okay.
I remember Pierre Gasly had somebody rob his house, and he lives in Normandy. I know that, but I don't know where Roman Grosjean lives.
Yeah, France is kind of weird. Well, they're beheading history teachers there now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Well, history teachers that ask Muslim class students if they think Muhammad is portrayed well in comics. So.
Oh yeah. Here's the other thing about Daniel Ricciardo. So the team principal of Renault. What's his name? Oh, fuck. His last name's Abitibol. I think it's Cyril Abitibol. But
Okay.
it's probably French, so you probably say you probably drop half the letters in that. But Cyril Abitibol made a bet that if Daniel Ricciardo got a podium this year, he would get a tattoo. So Daniel Ricciardo got a podium, and now they're working on when he's going to get his tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Because I believe Cyril gets to pick where it is and how big it is, but Daniel gets to pick what it is.
Sounds like a impractical Joker's bet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get, who'd they get? Jaden Smith tattooed on someone. Yeah, anyway, different show, not racing.
But yeah, so yeah, that was the F1 update. So it was pretty interesting. There's no race this week, and I can't remember what next week's race is, but
It's the last one, right?
no, there's one in Portugal's next week, and then there's another one in Italy. I want to say Imola. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then there's 2 in. Is it Bahrain? I want to say there's 2 in Bahrain, because they're racing 2 different tracks. Because there's like a big track and then there's a small track, and they're gonna race them both on back-to-back weekends.
Oh, okay.
And then the last race, and there's one in Turkey, and then the last race is in Abu Dhabi,
Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
and that'll be into like December. That's the last race is in December. So yeah, we got like 5 more races or something like that. So, and I think Lewis Hamilton just needs to win a couple more races, then he's mathematically the champion.
Yeah, because with this one, he tied with the all-time, right?
Yeah, he ties with Michael Schumacher as
Schumacher.
and also LeBron James got another championship this week.
He did. Yeah.
Okay.
His 4th championship with 3 different teams and 10 different tries.
So it's a good percentage.
Yeah, Hey, I think only Bill Russell has been to more finals. Where he was like 13 or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
Which is pretty crazy for the modern era. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's
pretty
clearly
good.
he's the difference. Now he did have a lot of help. I mean, this team was pretty loaded, but still.
yeah.
And the
It's still
season the season's weird because they had to stop and then start up again, but still.
And playing the bubble and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which probably, I don't know. Do you think that helped do you think that helped or hurt because essentially there's no home field advantage in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a lot different, I think, just because they're in the same place, but it kept the season going, so it worked.
Well, yeah, some people are speculating that's why maybe some of the play was good, or at least there were so many high scoring games, is that everybody got the same amount of rest.
Yeah, there was no, like, people going on long road trips or anything. They're just going back to their hotel rooms, so.
Yeah. But then the season starts up again, like in December.
Yeah, I think so. I think the draft.
But they're not going to
gonna
do it. But they're not going to do a bubble.
Not that I know of, but they might. If they have to change that, they could go back to it, I think.
Okay.
But I think they're hoping they don't have to.
Yeah, because the way they designed this bubble was with a very specific amount of teams, not the entire NBA. Right?
Yeah, if you were like really bad, you didn't get to restart your season. Like the Bulls or one of those teams, they're like, nope, sorry, stay home.
Yeah, sports.
Sports.
They're all happening all at once.
Sports balls.
Hey, and the World Series is about to begin.
It's pretty close. I haven't been paying attention, but I know that it was in the the American League. Oh man, it's the Tampa Bay Rays and the Astros, and
Yeah.
then
the
National
Braves?
League it's the Dodgers and the Braves. Yeah,
Okay.
and the Astros, like, I don't really want them to they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. The only reason they are is because they let more people in because of the season being the way it was, but.
All right, Andrew, you been following baseball? Because I know you're a big baseball guy.
Reds made the playoffs and lost automatically to the Braves, so that's why I stopped following baseball for the
Okay.
year. Because the Reds actually did a good job of barely making the playoffs, and if they just would have won a couple more games, they would have got a better seed and probably went a little bit further. But they didn't even score a run in their 2 playoff games; they got shut out entirely. And that was with 2 good pitching performances too. So it wasn't even like a huge score deficit. It's like, come on. But that's their problem every fucking year. They can't score runs.
What
They had some good. I'm sorry.
what was the special rules they added for this season? Do you guys remember them? Wasn't there something like a base runner starts on second in overtime innings? Something like that.
I don't know. I don't know about special rules. Sorry.
I thought it was something to do with like DH and everything, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I thought I read an article, and it might have been.
Oh yeah, okay. Every team this year had a DH spot instead of the pitcher hitting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why. As soon as he said DH, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Don't know why it took that long, but
Oh yeah, so I guess the Tampa Bay Rays are going to the World Series. So
Oh, did they
Oh,
just
really?
win tonight or
they
something?
they just won. I
Huh.
just saw it. So that's good.
Is this the first time they've been to the World Series?
It's the second time.
Oh, second. Okay.
Yeah. And so that means Dick Vitale is going to be very excited because that's where he lives.
oh baby.
Yeah.
Super scintillating sensation.
I just immediately I thought he was dead, man. Or did he get cancer and survive?
He's still around. He raises money for cancer. He does that a lot.
Okay, I thought he got sick like a few years ago. I just assumed he was dead for some reason.
No, he's around.
Okay.
I mean, he's around. Angela Lansbury's around still somehow. She's 95, so
Betty White's still around.
she's still, as far as I know, I think so. Last I knew.
I mean, if Betty White dies this year, might as well just pack it in. Everything else. With all things, other things that happened, might as well just call it lost, man. Just redo next year. Just act like this never happened. It's just a giant simulation. That's all it is.
Queen Elizabeth's still alive.
Yeah, no one cares about her though.
Or
And I watched all of Raised by Wolves.
How's
Okay.
that?
It's fucking crazy.
In a good or bad way?
It's good.
Okay.
I there's like a whiplash of production stuff. There seemed like, oh, this is the Ridley Scott movie crew, and then there's like this is the B team for like Doctor Who, but then like the show looks very much like Prometheus, and the reason why is they used a bunch of aerial footage from that movie for this movie or for this show.
Hey, if you got it sitting around, might as well use it.
Yeah, so I guess that made sense after a while. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, the show is very. I mean, it's like a pretty standard sci-fi show. I think the thing it does well is that it just every episode ends with something that would, like in any other show, would be their season cliffhanger, but it's every episode is like that.
Wow.
It also
yeah.
it's on HBO Max.
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
Also, what else is crazy about it? They do backstory in the show, but they never explain anything. Like, you have these androids, and they were created by this weird cult thing for reasons, but then they just started killing everybody, but they never explain why. They just like, and then they were created, and then they started killing everybody. Because it seems like they were created to kill the atheists, because that's what this big thing's about. On Earth, there's atheists, and then there's the Nathan. You remember the name of the religion?
Yeah, what was it called? Like, it's basically the sun worshippers.
Yeah.
I didn't get to finish it all. I got cut off,
Oh, okay.
so I need to probably just break down and buy that for myself. But let's see, what were they called? Because they have a weird name.
But you basically got this robot lady and
Mithraics.
what's that?
They call themselves the Mithraics.
Oh yeah, the Mithraics.
Yeah, everything sounds very Tolkienish in this.
But yeah, it's pretty good. But it's like you'll end up being disappointed in everybody, but that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, like every episode ends on something crazy, so I think it's pretty good for its unpredictability. So
Sounds worth a watch.
Yeah, it's interesting. I watched like 8 episodes, and then, so I got to
oh,
watch.
you got 2 more left then.
Yeah, so I'm pretty close.
I believe you said the first episode's on YouTube, so anybody can watch it. Yeah.
It was.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I can tell what they're doing because when they talk about the what are the androids called? Sirens, or the real destructive ones that Mother is.
Yeah, well, some of them call them necromancers, but they don't like that name or something.
Yeah, but they say like, well, the Mithraics made them, but nobody understands their energy source or their programming. It's like, well, how did the Mithraics make them? Well, they read the holy text that told them. So even the people that made them don't exactly understand.
Yeah, because they're probably they're going to get into something where like the ancient text is like shit sent from aliens. And then to obfuscate that, they just made a religion to hide that fact or something like that. But you don't know. None of this shit's explained. It's just all... They just like, here's the history. It's like, why? And it's like, that's not being answered. Why is not being answered? It's just more weird shit. It's like, that's interesting, but... Because also, if you ever get a why explanation, it'd probably be stupid, so...
Yeah, probably.
They introduce this is science fiction, but they introduce elements of mythology and magic into the storytelling.
Yeah.
It's like, is that guy really talking to God who was an atheist? And it's, so they try to introduce things into it that really confuse you. It's like, are these people full of shit or aren't they? It's because obviously you think the religious nuts are full of shit, but then you're like, wait a minute, these people have some kind of understanding of things.
Yeah.
And all their weapons suck too. They fire machine guns at this fucking android that looks like bronze, and of course it doesn't kill it. Why are you fighting it then?
Yeah, I like the way she flies around. It seems like they fucked up the special effects. Like they forgot to put animation in because that's how it's animated. See, the T pose like they do have in video games. So that's how she flies around. She flies around in a T pose. Which in computer animation, like the reason you do a T pose is because the arms are away from the sides. And so, like, whenever you have like those skeletal dots or whatever, if they touch each other, then shit goes crazy. So you have people do T poses to eliminate that problem. And usually, like when the computer program fucks up, especially in video games, like a character will default to its T pose. And so, like, when video games fuck up things, you'll just see people walking around in T poses, and they won't even be animating; they'll just be kind of floating along in a T pose. Which they did that intentionally for this show. Like that's how the character flies, is in a T pose. Which looks weird and becomes frightening for it. So
Yeah, it does work. I mean, it's also a Christian, on
oh
the
yeah,
front.
that too, yeah.
But Ridley Scott loves that shit. I
But
mean,
also, like, this religious cult, they aren't Christians, but you can
No.
use all that. You can use all that ideology and imagery and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
because I mean, it is Earth, so that's identified. But you don't know how this religion was started and why and how it took over the world, and you don't really know what atheists are, other than like they just don't believe in what this religion believes. It's not necessarily like a pure absence of religion, but well, I mean, yeah, it is an absence of religion, but there's also other weird shit where they're all child soldiers and stuff like that, but they're on the back foot too. So
yeah. You never know exactly. What everyone has a very incomplete or empty history of, like, I don't know.
yeah,
So it's all kind of strange. Because then it's like, well, Earth is going to be rendered uninhabitable. It's like, with this level of technology, I don't think, flinging people to faraway systems is like your best use of money when you have their energy, when you have technology like that. But okay. But if you can't come to peace with anyone, you're just destroying each other.
but that's also like maybe like the big thing that they don't necessarily complete is like this planet might have its own agenda.
Yeah.
Because what you think of is like maybe people hearing God and stuff like that might be this planet. And then that's just another mystery that you have no idea what the fuck it's about. So
Yeah. And this show manages to be brutally violent too.
yeah.
Like really, really like, oh, they're doing that. I did like the lead actress though. They found or made through makeup and special effects the most androgynous looking person they could.
Yeah.
Also a believable person too. Like you can tell that, like, I think she's Swedish or Danish or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But she looks like just some 7 foot tall androgynous woman who doesn't seem to have emotions, but then does.
Yeah.
And like her feelings get hurt, and then she like, I'm gonna go kill 200 people and to protect the children. It's like everyone's moral compass is spinning wildly in this show.
Yeah, and when she kills people, she just screams, and then the sound waves make people explode into fats of blood.
Yeah, which float in the air weirdly for long periods of time.
And sometimes they just completely are eviscerated into blood, and sometimes there's body parts. But it's kind of inconsistent. But also because her eyes have something to do with that, and to not kill the children, she takes out her eyes so she can be around the children.
Makes sense.
Yeah, she changes eyes all the time. No,
I could see it.
The eyes she can hypnotize and control people with them.
Yeah.
That's why the atheists they had those helmets where they'd press the side and the visor would come down.
Oh, okay.
So the necromancers wouldn't like make them stop or tell them to shoot themselves or whatever. But it's like some of it's like incoherent. It's like, well, maybe this will be explained, or maybe it won't, because this is mythic storytelling we're in, where it's like everything doesn't have to have an answer. Ugh. So we watched a movie this week,
Yes.
or last week, or sometime.
Yeah, 2 weeks to watch this movie.
Yeah, so we watched the Ritual on Netflix, which is a British horror film set in Sweden in the woods. It's kind of Blair Witchy,
Yeah.
but it's about people dealing with issues in their past. Let's see, what did this guy...
Well, it's like 4 friends from college, or actually 5 friends, but but one of them gets killed immediately in like the first 5 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
in a very brutal robbery at a liquor store.
Yeah. Some liquor store in London or something. Let's see. The last thing this guy did that I watched was a movie called VHS.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fucking good.
I know that. Oh yeah.
And he directed just a segment, Amateur Night. So
Okay.
I remember that movie. I remember thinking, oh, this is better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, the trailer made it look really cool, so I figured it'd be pretty decent. So.
Andy Serkis is executive produced this movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And point of trivia, Guillermo del Toro was consulted to make the Jotun.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Because when you see we'll just talk about the movie now because now we're jumping way ahead. So these guys apparently take vacations together.
Yeah.
They're like guys in their mid-30s, and they kind of lament like the vacations they used to take now that they're older men and married and stuff. It's like, well, we can't take those vacations anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to get the names of all the people because the main guy is Luke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Phil, Hutch, Dom, and then Robert was the guy who got killed, I think. I believe.
I think Robert makes a suggestion that they go on a hike, and that's why they go out there is sort of to honor him.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go into Sweden and they go on this hike and they start getting lost, pretty quickly. And the one guy,
Well, they take a shortcut for some reason. Is it because of the rain?
Because the Dom hurt his meniscus or whatever.
Oh,
so
right, yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, we can't go around like we're supposed to. We're gonna go through. It's a shortcut. And the very apt analogy in it was like, well, if it was a shortcut, then people would call it a trail, but they don't call it a trail, so it's not a shortcut.
Interestingly, Dom is the grandson of the second Doctor in Doctor Who, the actor who plays him. His name is Sam Troughton, and that guy's name was Patrick Troughton. So. I don't know if that means anything, but I thought.
Well, I can't remember. Was that still like a black and white Doctor Who?
I was transitioning from black and white to color at that time. It was the weird blue and white where it was almost like color, but not quite.
Huh.
That was when Doctor Who was still finding its feet. Which it does often in its history. It's got to find its feet again. But anyway, so these guys are going through the woods, and this becomes Blair Witch pretty quick. Because there's things going on. There's weird shit they see, like an elk staked to a tree, like up in the air. And of course, immediately is like, what the hell does that? And then they go to a cabin where they start having hallucinatory dreams. But we only see the dreams of the main character.
Yeah.
But the other guys are describing disturbing dreams they're having.
And one guy's worshiping the weird headless straw man in the attic.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of runic symbols carved into things, which I don't know what they mean. Some people claim they know what they mean, but it's like, yeah, okay. But yeah, so they stay a night in the cabin, and of course, everyone, they have a very weird night in the cabin, and they continue through the woods.
Well, and the main guy, he's like hearing stuff in the forest, but like it's lightning and raining, so it's like, how can you hear anything? But it's like, there's just a weird ominous thing in the forest, which is very blood. A lot of the fear in this movie is just like looking into the darkness and hearing a twig snap. Like it's done very well because it's very simple. So
yeah, this movie is this is a good. I will say my experience with this movie, other than just summarizing the plot, is it was a good movie. It wasn't what I expected because I thought it would be full Blair Witch where you don't see what's going on. It's just people get killed off one by one. But then it kind of takes a turn.
yeah.
And you do see what's going on, and you're like, what the fuck is this nightmare? This isn't like a scary monster. Like, this is more like The Thing. It's something really weird.
Yeah, because at first, because you see like a human hand like on a tree, and it kind of just like goes away, but it's like 10 feet in the air, so you're like, what the fuck was that? And then there's like things where you kind of like, it's like kind of like deer-like, but just giant.
Yeah.
But you still can't like ascertain like what it looks like. And then when you finally get to see what it is, you're like, what the fuck is that? It's like a deer with a human torso with hands and shit and glowy eyes. It's like everything all at once.
Well, because when Luke gets captured, because Luke and Sam or Dom get captured by Swedish hillbillies, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah,
they're.
Oops. No, I was gonna say Dom's analogy of being, because remember when they're talking about taking the trip and they're talking about like, oh, it's kind of like the Appalachian Mountains, except with Swedish hillbillies instead of West Virginia hillbillies.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it looks like they've been captured by Swedish hillbillies that are, kind of live weird and act weird, and they're obviously preparing them for something.
Yeah, well, it seems like these people are living to worship this thing because it allows them to live forever, but
Yeah.
not necessarily well.
Yeah, it's not like, there's life and then there's life, but you don't even, I mean, my thoughts at first, what I liked about it was it's like, oh, it was always people doing this. These are weird. This is going to be like The Hills Have Eyes, where these people are just doing something weird and they're making little Blair Witch, effigies of people. And it's like, oh, these people are nuts and they're going to figure their way out of this. And it's like, oh no, then it goes full supernatural with the weird, elk man creature thing with glowing eyes and a face that's hidden in a shroud. And that's a really weird and scary thing. And what I liked about it is not only how it looked, but how they made it move. Because it's like, oh, this thing moves believably. Now this is really fucked up. It's got this gait of an elk, and its head kind of moves, but then it's got hands that are reaching out. And it's like, oh, boy.
But it doesn't talk, but it does
No.
give you hallucinations,
Yeah.
which is sort of the only way it communicates.
Yeah. And apparently it marked Luke out as someone, because of the pain in his life of the death of his friend. I'm just interpreting this. I don't know. It marked him out as someone it wanted to keep
Yeah.
as one of his
Worshippers or whatever.
acolytes or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because eventually the one guy gets sacrificed,
Dom.
and then who's the main guy?
Luke.
Luke is like escaping, and then like it just decides to start killing everybody.
Yeah, he's angry at them for reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's that weird bit where it keeps making Luke like try to like kneel before it.
Yeah, and he finally does. And it's like, oh, I think I've won. And then Luke shows the courage he didn't show when his friend was being murdered in front of him and grabs the axe and buries it in this thing. Doesn't kill it because he shot it with a rifle too and it didn't even affect it.
Yeah.
So, and he's also running through his hallucination through the woods while this thing's running next to him, which was a really cool scene.
While it's all on fire.
Yeah, while it's on fire, and so it's obvious like this thing manipulates the world. Now here's the end, and I read some things about this, and I don't know what to make of it. I always thought when I watched the movie, I thought, oh, he showed bravery, and then he got away. Like
Yeah.
for some reason, he got away. Now other people say, no, the creature let him go. I don't know. I like the thing where it's like, well, he kind of beat it at its own game. He injured it or distracted it long enough to run to the edge of its domain where it didn't have power anymore.
Yeah, that's how I interpret it.
So, but some people say,
Well-
no, creature let him go because he learned his lesson. It's like, this didn't seem like a lesson teaching thing, but
Well, I guess like what the future is like, he's going to bring more people back to recreate this cult again, like for some reason.
yeah, that could be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, because the sequel I want to see that they'll never make is when you get like, like the special forces predator team to go in and like, what the fuck is this thing? And they just unload in the forest with like machine guns.
Swedish special forces. And you bring in the guy from Troll Hunter too, because it's like he has skills.
Yeah.
Look at a weird mashup.
But there's no reason to make that movie. That's just a movie I'd like to see.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like Apache helicopters just cutting the woods to shreds. We'll show you, ancient god. This movie was actually filmed in Romania, not Sweden. So,
Huh.
but wherever they filmed it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Like those were cool looking. I like those kind of woods. I mean, not where people are stuck in trees and shit.
Yeah, when I was in Michigan, there's a lot of weird trees like that there. Whereas
Yeah.
there's these weird very pillory trees that are very close together, but then there's just no leaves on the bottom half of the tree, but then there's just little branches.
Yeah.
And it looks very unsettling and weird.
Yeah, that's a canopying effect. Well, because see, they stopped logging because northern Michigan was very intensely logged, and then they suddenly quit because the wood elves were killing people. No, they just quit. Too profitable. Well, no, actually, why did they stop logging in northern Michigan? I think it's because the Great Lakes were more profitable to run cargo through than run logs.
Yeah.
So it was a place that was very intensely logged, and then no logging goes on there now. So you get that canopy. What you're talking about with those trees is like canopy effect, because they have to go higher to live. So there's no branches on the lower level because you can't collect sunlight because all the other trees are blocking it.
Yeah.
So you get that weird medieval forest effect because no one's cut a tree down there since the 1700s. So. Yeah, northern Michigan's a cool place without the people. If the people weren't there, it'd be amazing. But unfortunately, people. So you're stuck with that. But yeah, this was a cool movie, an unexpectedly surprising movie with kind of a weird, slow middle part, but still managed to be engaging all the way through.
Yeah.
So yeah, very.
Well, it's a movie that could have done without ever showing.
Yeah.
But they do, and they do it well.
Yeah, it's like when they do show the creature, you're like, what the fuck? 'Cause you never show the Blair Witch. You would never live up to it.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like, because you think it's going to be Forest Hillbillies. It's like, oh, they're weird people in a cult. They killed all my friends. Oh, no. It's something way worse and more sinister. And it's one of the children of Loki. Or is it
The bastard children of Loki.
Yeah. Like, where's Tom Hiddleston and his stick? He didn't show up, but yeah. So it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
A nice cool movie made for $10 million. Probably made its money back through distribution more than being in theaters. The original.
It's a Netflix pickup, so they probably got enough out of that. So.
Well, this was made. It was E1 made it in Granada, which E1 is European film, and Granada's a British film company. Originally, the tagline for this movie was going to be "They should have gone to Vegas."
Oh yeah.
Changed the tagline because the Vegas shooting happened 2 weeks before the movie came out. It's like, no, let's drop that. Let's not talk about that. So, yeah, The Ritual. Check it out. If you like horror movies that'll surprise you, this would be one of them. I mean, if you listen to the podcast, it won't surprise you anymore, but it's a well-made movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's just in time for October. So.
Yeah. It is the time.
Which I picked next week. We'll be watching Hubie Halloween.
I've seen that. It's good.
But the one with
Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
Loose Diamonds or whatever.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
I hear good things, but also you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, and it's really bad. But so many people are saying it's kind of return to form for Adam Sandler. So,
well, I guess I've seen it. I won't tell you about it until you watch it. But Adam Sandler, after he didn't get nominated for Uncut Gems, he made a joke that he was going to make the stupidest movie he could think of. And if you think of it that way when you watch it, you'll understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll
It's like the usual, Adam Sandler Netflix movie where he can have any of his friends or former people in other movies just come back and, do whatever. And yeah.
Well, yeah, the Red Letter Media guys always accuse him of he does these movies as vacations. Him and his friends go on vacation and they just happen to shoot a movie.
I don't know where they shot this because, in the movie, it's supposed to be in Massachusetts. I don't know where they actually shot it, but.
Well, there keeps seeing a thing popping up in my feed about some newscaster from Massachusetts got fired for appearing in this movie. But
yeah, I don't know if I can tell. I can tell you it's not really that important, but for whatever reason,
we'll save it for next week. So
okay, next week, got it.
That was just the next Halloween movie I put on the list just for the hell of it.
Did anybody watch John Bronco yet? Anybody?
No, what the fuck?
Never.
I watched that last night.
What is it?
It's Walter Goggins, the actor. Like he's playing this like made up like pitchman for the Ford Bronco. Like it's a fake documentary. It's like 38 minutes long. It's actually pretty funny. It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on. I know Netflix had like a little experiment thing where they gave David Lynch like a 15-minute film he made for them. Where
Oh,
he,
yeah, that
where
was,
where he interrogates a monkey.
Yes, that one's weird. I watched it. I didn't hate it, but it's like I don't need to see that again.
And then
It's
the
fine.
monkey sings. And
Yeah, it's got a little bit of something for everybody, I guess.
Do you have clean hands? I don't know who does the best dialogue delivery, David Lynch or Werner Herzog.
I like Werner Herzog's voice a lot too.
Yeah. They wanted him to narrate things and do stuff, but Werner Herzog will turn on you. He'll be like, no, this is stupid. It's like, what? Why? Look at all the work. I'm not doing this.
Life is
I liked-
meaningless.
I li-
I cannot have.
I like if you should go find the interview where he's talking about the child from the Mandalorian and how cute it is in Werner Herzog voice. It's good stuff.
Is that the one where he's like, he tells them that we're gonna replace this with CGI, and he tells them not to, and they'd be cowards.
Yes.
They did. Yeah. Okay. No, this puppet is great. Do not replace it with CGI, you be cowards.
Yeah. I could listen to him talk about pretty much anything. I'm like, yeah, this is fun.
I think I wanted to watch that Lo and Behold, and I think it's on Netflix, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'd like to.
that's one of his documentaries about like social media and shit like that, and just the internet in general.
He's got a new movie coming out, but I forget what it's about.
He always has like 14 movies on the hot burner, so
Yeah, it's like, if I remember right, it's like one of his friends or collaborators or somebody that he used to admire died. It's something about that, but I can't think of what the guy's name is.
Oh, is it about that guy?
That one about asteroids too on Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
Is that the one about Klaus Kinski, or is it a different one?
Oh, I don't think it's about Klaus, but maybe
Because
it's about
they have
somebody.
a weird relationship, and I thought there's been movies about them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. But no, like,
Like the fun rumor about them is that at one point they both ordered hitmen on each other.
I believe that.
But it's
yeah.
probably a lie. But whenever Werner Herzog tells a lie, you just want to believe it.
It seems credible in that voice, you know.
Well, do you know how he got his start in film?
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, so he was in film school, but he wanted to
Yes.
go out and make his films. So he just stole all the shit that the film school had.
And he's used it.
Yeah, just made movies.
That sounds like him. That's great. He has his own, like, he's got one of those master classes or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I'd like to. He also has a website where you can sign up and pay him, like, I think it's like $800, like, to learn the secrets of film or something. And I saw it the other day. It's like kind of doesn't seem credible. Maybe it's not real, but
And I still have never watched the Bad Lieutenant
oh, I've seen that.
Port of New Orleans.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You should watch it.
Well,
You should put it on. Here
I've
or something to watch.
absorbed all those scenes, the weird scenes from that movie that I just like never bothered to watch it. It's like,
You're like, I don't want context. I just want to enjoy. The
yeah, just like
movie.
when he says his soul is still dancing, you know.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
iguanas
that's a good-
everywhere.
That's a good part. Yeah, I watched that movie. Yeah, I got that from a Red Box at a Walmart in Missouri. Pretty excited. What a night! After I buried a dead cat. Good stuff. All makes sense.
Yeah, I forget. What did I hear about that movie? They essentially they just told Nicolas Cage to do whatever he wanted to.
Yeah, whatever you feel like, just
And they
go
were just
ahead.
gonna film around it. Like, yeah, just go ahead.
I mean, I don't see why not.
I don't know, and you should kind of keep up on Nicolas. What's the next crazy movie that Nicolas Cage has coming out?
The Alien Jiu-Jitsu movie.
Yeah, I heard
where a
about
bunch
that.
of people fight aliens with jujitsu.
Yep,
Okay.
'cause
Yeah.
he's into jujitsu a lot, so that makes sense.
I can't remember the damn name of it now for the life of me, but I know they announced it last week.
Yes.
So I know it's either filming or almost done. I can't remember which one. I'm gonna say probably almost done. But yeah, it's interesting, I guess.
Did anybody see is it Color Out of Space, or what is that called?
Oh yeah, I got really good reviews, and I know it's supposed to be a kind of an interesting movie, but I never watched it yet. So
Is it streaming yet?
I don't think it. Not that
I mean, if
know
you
of.
pay to rent it, yes, but not for anything. Not like free services or anything.
Because the one I'm waiting for to come out was that Possessor movie.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I heard
Or the
about it.
trailer? The trailer looks really cool.
I'd like to watch it.
It basically
but I
just
don't-
seems like Inception, but like I don't know, weirder and less budget.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have as much money in Leonardo DiCaprio yet.
But you got the son of David Cronenberg, so
I mean, that could be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's obviously.
Well, I was looking at the production company that did that, and I ended up picking up another movie from theirs. Oh shit, what's it called? And it didn't get great ratings, but I thought the idea was fascinating. It's essentially like there's somebody who is very like depressed and feels like killing themselves, and they get on the phone and talk to other people, and they basically infect other people with their depression.
Oh, well,
It's an interesting concept.
It's kind of like Pontypool, but with like people wanting to kill themselves rather than eating each other.
yeah. Honeypool is a cool movie.
Yeah. If y'all see Pontypool, because everyone needs to see Pontypool.
I haven't seen that.
Did we talk
It's not-
about that on the podcast, or is that just something we all watched and kind of just?
Yeah,
Sounds
we've done
cool.
specials about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember I liked that movie so much, like I was playing clips from it on the podcast.
I remember like it used to be hard to find, like you could only get DVD copies, but maybe it's more available now. But it's a Canadian movie, so there's a lot of weird shit about it,
Yeah.
like production deals and shit like that.
It was one of those movies, those passing through movies. Like everyone was working on other projects while that was happening. I mean, Possessor's out somewhere because it's got like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, well, it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like in a theater circuit, but it's not like released in theaters here, nor is it streaming.
Oh, okay.
As far as I can tell. Alright, I almost have this pulled up. What movie did I get? She Dies Tomorrow. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Do you guys see the trailer for the new Ron Howard movie that's going to be released on Amazon?
No.
No.
It's like, oh god damn it, I have to look up the cast list again, but I swear it's like Glenn Close and then Amy Adams, but it's like a family that's kind of stuck in poverty in West Virginia for 3 generations.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Them trying to get out of it. Like, it sounded really good, and that trailer is really fucking fantastic. If the acting is good throughout the whole movie, just like it is in the trailer, it'll be fucking amazing.
I was like vaguely interested in that. What's that? The Devil All the Time movie, but then it kind of got mediocre reviews.
Yeah, once I saw the trailer for that, I'm like, this sounds like a bunch of bullshit, so no thank you.
Okay, I didn't know if anybody watched that.
My wife
I
wants
thought-
to watch it, but I haven't watched it.
I'd probably just watch it for Robert Pattinson's southern accent. So that's probably it.
Because I didn't know if we should put it on the list for the. Because that's probably one of the biggest Netflix ones that's been come out, and I didn't know if I should put it on that list or not. But recently I've been like, maybe you should do horror movies for October. So that's what I've been doing recently. So
Yeah.
That makes sense.
we only have like one more October podcast, so at least I think we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least one more.
Well, we got 2 because Halloween's on Saturday, so that's the last day.
Oh,
next
okay.
weekend. For that, so
Never. Yeah, probably my biggest Halloween memory is I went back from my boot leave to MCT on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So it has nothing to do with Halloween, just me going back to training.
It happened to be on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Dune got kicked to next year.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah, that makes sense. So.
Shazam sequel got kicked back 2 years. So, I mean, Black Adam got almost pretty much canceled, so it's delayed indefinitely. So that means who knows when the hell it's ever going to get filmed or shown.
Oh yeah, Glow got canceled. That was a huge bummer.
Yeah,
Because they're like, yeah, we're gonna finish the season, and then like, nope, fuck it.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's
Well, I read an article about why that happened. I don't know if you guys read anything, but
I think it was just basically because they couldn't get everybody back, wasn't it? They couldn't film.
well, no, the whole nature of the show where they're wrestling, like you can't do that and be distanced. Like it's not really like possible to do that. Like it's not safe. So they're like, we're just gonna cut our losses. It's like okay.
Tell that to all the wrestlers that never stop wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what their excuse was. Like everyone's in close proximity because they're wrestling and stuff. So like we can't do that safely. So you know.
But I mean, WWE Underground just got canceled, didn't it?
I mean, do you know what that is?
I just heard the headline. I didn't actually read it. So
Okay,
sorry,
so Raw has 3 hours of television to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the audience usually starts well, and then by the third hour, everyone has just left. So to try to, and like nobody needs a 3 hour wrestling show unless it's like a pay-per-view. But this is a weekly fucking 3 hour wrestling show, and it's always terrible.
It seems like it would outstay its welcome. Like I'm good.
Well, if they actually wrestled, it'd be fine. But half of it's just talking, and it's not like the wrestlers with their natural charisma going out there and selling you on a match. No, it's them reading very poorly written dialogue from like people that used to like work on shitty sitcoms, and this is.
I'm hoping it's from Freddie Prinze Jr. because does he still work for the WWE?
No, but yeah, he used to be a writer for WWE.
Yeah, I think it's from him. I'd like to think that. Hey, Scoob!
I mean, also Brian Posehn used to be a writer for WWE. There's a lot of people who have gone through.
Oh
there.
yeah.
But also, all of them have written at better times for WWE. So, well, I guess technically this is a really good time for WWE because they have tons of money because their $500 million TV contracts is the most money they've ever had. But anyway, so in the third hour, they try to do something new. And what they did is they basically created this fictional underground fight club just like within WWE, and they'd cut to it, and there'd be like, it would just be kind of a mat, and there'd be kind of MMA style fights going on, and that's what Raw Underground was. And it was hosted by Vince McMahon's son. I can't remember his name.
Neil, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Shane. That's Shane McMahon. So they canceled that idea. Raw is still a 3 hour show. They're just gonna fill it with something else. So, although I remember the first time they introduced it, they just kind of like cut back to it. It's like, and now in Raw Underground, and they just like have a fight going on, and then like people who were in the show earlier would show up, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here? And I remember the first episode, it ended, and they had like dancers and shit off to the side. It's like, why did they have strippers at this underground fight club? It's like, that makes no fucking sense. And they're just trying to be edgy and appeal. But then I guess like in something that maybe it's like, obviously this is created for the male gaze. You have strippers, but then like at the end of it, the strippers are fighting each other. It's like, I guess they have their own agency then.
Yeah, they're not just there. They wanted to be there. I get it.
So yeah, they have postponed indefinitely Raw Underground. So
yeah, their enemy isn't the male gaze comment. Their enemy is the success of other women.
That's true. They are fighting each other for attention. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Although now they have a new faction in WWE that's trying to tear them down from the inside, and it's called Retribution.
Huh.
And their leader is T-Bar. And it's like you name a guy Titty Bar.
Yeah, that's so vague.
Just call him Taserface.
It's an odd flex.
There's one dude, he has a mask that kind of makes him look like the Predator. It's actually kind of cool looking. The first time they showed up, they just like fucked up the whole place and took a chainsaw to the ring.
Wow. And then why not?
Which, it was kind of cool, but then like what they've done with it so far is kind of stupid. They end up giving they made the leader Mustafa Ali, who's like a really good wrestler who like doesn't get enough attention, and you're just like, okay, they're gonna start giving him some. They're starting to give him some focus and give him some attention, and they like advertised that Mustafa Ali was going to explain why he's the leader of Retribution, and then they cut that segment. It's like, oh, obviously you don't give a shit about this guy. It's like one of their, two Muslim wrestlers who was a cop in Chicago, and then you're just gonna forget about him. There's a lot of interesting things about Mustafa Ali, and just, they don't care. Well, some people do, just Vince McMahon doesn't. So, because he's he's a short guy. So, but I remember like on 205 Live, when it was Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, and Cedric Alexander, like they would just like every week they just put on just like these fucking crazy wrestling matches that were awesome. And now they're all on WWE proper, but they're not really showing off what they can do. It's like you just put those guys in the ring and you just let them kill each other for your entertainment. That's what you do. Like, why give them a backstory? Like, don't fuck this up.
Huh.
But anyways, so yeah, I don't watch WWE anymore. I just I listen to podcasts. They watch it for me, and then I get these reports back. So I've been watching. I just watch AEW, and then recently you've had the G1 Climax tournament for at New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is about to wrap up, and it's been pretty good this year. The revelation has been Tomohiro Ishii. He's just had great matches. Every one of his matches are awesome. What's even more surprising about it is that his matches are really simple. Like he's not like coming off the top rope or any of that shit or doing flips or anything. That he's just the standard wrestling matches, the hard hitting. A lot of the things he does well is like the whole like kind of like fighting spirit kind of thing. Because he's like 42. And every time he comes out to the ring, like he looks like he's like 50 years old. Like he's got knee braces, elbow pads. Like it's like he's being held up by chewing gum and tape. Like every time he comes to the ring, that's what's going on. And like throughout the match, he's just getting the shit beat out of him. And but then like there'll be something like, okay, he's fucking dead. He can't go anymore. But then he just pure sheer will, he just wills himself into one last burst of energy, and then either he succeeds or he fails, and it's just really well done. So, so yeah, that's the G1 Climax. So. And then they had Will Ospreay fought Kazuchika Okada, and that was kind of interesting because at the end of it, Will Ospreay betrays Kazuchika Okada because they're in the same faction. And so because it's a Japanese broadcast, like the English people can swear because it's not a problem.
Oh, okay.
And it became really abrasive because after the match, like Okada's like laid out after he's been killed by Will Ospreay and some other guy, and he's just going up to him. He's like, "Fuck you, you held me back, motherfucker." And it's like, whoa.
Calm down.
It's like I'm pretty sure the Japanese people know he's saying "fuck," but that's pretty abrasive. But so yeah.
Yeah, Japanese people hide their feelings deep inside. They don't, unless they're kamikazes, then they don't hide their feelings deep inside.
Well, Will Ospreay is a British guy, but
no, I'm just saying what Japanese culture would think of it because they don't really. I mean, how weird their culture is with like the weird shit they put in anime or the weird shops they have and just different specialties and occupations, like a hug therapist. It's like you can be more open about emotions and how people go through them, but not really. They're very closed off.
But yeah. Anybody have anything else?
No, I think that's it for this
I
week.
think I have one thing I just thought of.
What's that?
Can we make suggestions for things for people to watch?
Yeah, I mean that's what we have the notes for, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get to look at the notes. So you're talking about Netflix stuff. So have you guys ever Dick Johnson is Dead? Do you know that one?
No.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so it's
quick aside. Another weird thing from the New Japan Pro Wrestling. One guy, he comes out to wrestle and he has his buddy, and his buddy's name's Dick Togo.
What?
Okay.
It's like
I
you have
like
a guy.
it.
You have a guy named Dick to go.
Yeah, he's like, anytime I'm ready, give me a call. Hit me up.
Dick to go.
Anyways,
awesome.
Sorry, with Dick.
Oh,
Dick
you're fine.
Johnson.
It's like, I guess it's technically a documentary, but like it's just the way it's done is interesting. So basically, the lady that made it, she's a documentary filmmaker. She did other documentaries like Camera Person, and like she was a cinematographer like on Citizen 4, the Edward Snowden documentary. And basically, her dad's like getting excuse me, not dementia, something like that, dementia or Alzheimer's, and so like she has an idea to like fake his death like all these different ways so he can like be a part of his death. It's pretty funny. But yeah, we had to drop an air conditioner on him, like different things. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's called Dick Johnson.
Dick Johnson is dead. Yeah,
Oh,
it's on
Dick Johnson
Netflix.
is- okay.
Yeah.
Something I know is currently, or I know it used to be on Netflix. I recommend to you, Matt, because you like weird comedy.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Beverly Loughlin?
I saw the like it come up, but I didn't know what it was.
Watch it.
Okay, because I saw Craig Robinson and Aubrey Plaza
Yes.
and what's his face? I forgot his name.
Emil
Jermaine something.
Hirsch. Oh yeah, Jermaine Clement.
Yeah, I was like, that seems like a bunch of people I like, so I should watch
It's
that.
incredibly weird comedy, but I enjoyed it.
Anything that's weird or awkward, I enjoy. So
Craig Robinson doesn't speak in the movie at all. He just grunts,
good for him. He still got paid.
and he's the title character. His character is Beverly Loughlin.
That makes perfect sense. We'll have to watch that. That's awesome.
All right, Nathan, take us out.
Oh, okay. That's it then. All right. I was writing down notes. Sorry.
Oh,
So
okay, sorry.
You're fine.
this week for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
Andrew?
And Matt.
Goodbye, America.